for this week, since our current class B is a pretty quick, easy one. But as of right now, this is what we're doing. For anybody who has missed it, for anybody who hasn't been here to see what we're already doing in class B, we're journeying to other planets. Anybody who has missed it, for anybody. Perfect. Right after we journey to a sound check, and it's working great. Wonderful. So welcome everybody. This is Jay Baldale. Welcome to my channel where we study into certain types of spiritual texts, certain types of spiritual concepts, philosophies, all of that. Once You're Goddess, what's up? One of the best students around these parts. Great to see you. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Okay, so let's get a little music playing and let's get to going. So right now, yep, what we are studying in is the way I've got this channel set up, at least right now in space time, is that I do two classes. So class B is what we're back into today. This is for all the newcomers. Some of you, you've been around the block. This ain't nothing new for you. But our class B is Journey into Other Planets, and our class A is on magic, but not Houdini type of magic. No, more like Golden Dawn type of magic. All right. Okay, everything's set up the way I like. Very good. So let's do a little pull of the tarot as we get ready to get back into this journey to other worlds. And maybe a quick little yap along with our tarot pull. Because it's important to be reminded of the fact that, like right now, in the way these classes are set up is a perfect example. This is more from the East. Well, the way the East came to the West, because Swami Prabhupada, who started like the Hare Krishna movement, so ISKCON, that's a lot of the Krishna temples you'll see around the United States, and I don't know, they're probably up in Canada and all that too, maybe down in Mexico. That part I'm not sure on, but definitely in the United States. And so he was bringing some Eastern type of teachings to the West. And, we find that overlap. It's very good to definitely study both, but you need to be keeping in mind that if we're going to give some credit to like the idea of racial karmas and racial dharma and even like root races, like from theosophy, well, then maybe the different people of the planet Earth all do have a little slightly different job when it comes to exploring both the material and anti-material, as this book puts it, type of worlds. And Vishant Kumar, what's up? Says, Hail Krishna. Hail Krishna indeed. Great to have you here. Hail Vishnu. That's the way I look at it. But Krishna was a very worthwhile incarnation of Vishnu. It seems that Vishnu didn't really do much that wasn't worthwhile, though. But see, that's where certain things can get caught up, I feel like, or certain things can get misinterpreted, is when you maybe have these kind of different things that overlap, and you forget that based on these cultures and based on these different people of the earth, that bleeds into their spiritual teachings a bit. I'll tell you who didn't screw that up. Crowley. Crowley seems to understand that very swell, but that's all right. Some people overlook old Uncle Al, and that's perfectly understandable. Oh dear, 904. Hello to you and welcome. I hope you're having a good day. Dion Fortune seemed to get that pretty decently, although I don't know. I think Dion can be a mixed bag at times, but I mean, hey, Crowley can be a mixed bag at times. We can all be a mixed bag at times, huh? But yeah, just keep in mind as we read some of these different texts that there's certain types of cultural influences, and so if we really kind of trace that down to things like a racial karma slash dharma, or even like deep programming, as we could maybe frame it another way, these deep programs that are embedded into like the DNA and stuff like that, then it would make sense that different people kind of get a different idea of the goals the end goal. Because again, what are you doing this for? Do you not have a goal in mind? And Vishant Kumar says, do you do tarot? I do tarot. And I'm actually going to pull us a card here. I'm just in the middle of yapping right now, but I'm going to pull us a card to see kind of what the energy about what we're going to read in this book today is going to tell us. So let's make this the last shuffle. We'll cut the deck, and then that card there is the card. That card there is the card. Any guesses? Any guesses from the class? What do you guys think it is today? I want to say a sword, but maybe I'm just being biased because I got a lot of sword stuff going on for myself right now. I'm welcoming the rest of you just coming in. One True Goddess says cups. All right. One True Goddess. Let's take a look. Let's see. Anybody else? Oh, all right. And Zon Roth, welcome. 1689. I hope you're having a good day. Says these are Mr. Crowley's cards. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, I'm saying I got an airy feeling about it. One True Goddess has a watery feeling about it. Let's see. Oh, One True Goddess. Dang. Nice work. Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups. That she was right. That's as cups as it gets, baby. That's water of water right there. Okay. But this particular queen, so this one's really cool because it's like kind of like she's sitting. Well, it's hard to tell, I guess, if she's sitting maybe in a cave or if maybe she's just sitting next to a pond, but she's outside. But either way, you see that reflective surface there. But you also see the way her head is kind of veiled right now in these swirlings. So she's definitely somebody who understands her emotions. She understands how to keep her emotions not only under control, but to really observe her emotions and use them to her benefit. But also, if we look at like that this would be the Bina, or this would could be the world of Bria too, that feminine potentiality, that creativity, that kind of darkness from which forth springs life. That she's certainly got that under control too. And so, oh, and there we see also from what Levy said, it looks like it's a pelican perhaps. And I think it was Levy said that a pelican could best be summed up as one of the animals that represents the great work. So, with that in mind, and with what we're about to study more in this text in mind, yeah, it's about having control over that inner space, but also understanding that hermetic, as Levy puts it, that hermetic dogma, that one true hermetic dogma of that which is above is like unto that which is below. So we see that too in that reflective aspect, right? You can see her more clearly up top, but you can also see her reflected down there in the waters of the pond or the waters of the pool. And Zero, one of my very favorites also. What's up, dude? It's so great to see you. I hope you're having a good day. And I look forward to more of our conversation on the side. You are a wonderful person to have in my life, Zero. And then let's see, I cannot read that language, but welcome into the stream. They say New and Kim. Okay, very cool. New and Kim. Who's New and Kim? Is that like Josue Yara? Welcome back. Great to see you. I hope you're having a good day. Is New and Kim like, is that like the god and the goddess? Who's New and Kim? And yeah, I can't read your name. Is that, I don't know if that's Korean. I don't know if that's Chinese, Japanese. I just don't know on that one. Okay, but cups of cups, water of water, mastering the emotions, but using those emotions to scry a bit too, because we'll see her on other cups, like in the Rider Waite, where she's kind of staring intensely into that Holy Grail, or that cup, that chalice, which is again representative of those emotions, or that creativity, which kind of goes hand in hand with that. So maybe it's not so much about running away from those things or trying to avoid those things as much as it's about sometimes learning from those things, sitting with those things, letting them teach you. We've got 4 elements to teach us ultimately, right? So right now, that's the element of water teaching us in its watery way. And you're welcome, Zero. Thank you, big time. All right, well, let's get into this. We're going to finish up this first section today. And then tomorrow and let's see, tomorrow and Saturday, we should be able to knock out the section two. This one is a short one. I've just been kind of dragging on this first part a little bit, but we like those bite-sized chunks. So there he is, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And ISKCON, yeah, the Krishna consciousness. So that's like, man, I heard they're like the Mormons of Krishnas, though. So, or like Hinduism. I heard that they were like the Mormons of Hinduism. So yeah, definitely keep in mind that the human part comes through, but maybe that's also part of the point. And then we got a couple more pictures, some cool ones. So there's Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield right there. And so if you find yourself at some type of battle in life right now, well, maybe put yourself in that predicament. Put yourself in the predicament of Arjuna and think to yourself, what would Krishna have to say about this? Hail to Krishna indeed. And the Aparachit, welcome back. Good to see you again. I hope you're having a good day. And here is a cool one. We see a little bit of a Western and Eastern overlap, or maybe not. Maybe it was all Eastern to begin with. The checkered floor of masonry. I just see that and think of Freemasonry. But then it says Lord Krishna appeared in 1468 in Bengal as Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, his most liberal and munificent form, to spread the Sankirtana movement of singing, dancing, and chanting the names of God. Well, if that doesn't look like a rave or a witch's sabbath, then I don't know what does. Oh, and this one's sick. This one's like this picture I have behind me, this other picture I have of Jesus, and he's in outer space. But this one's got Krishna and kind of this outer space. The infinite universes with their infinite planets are produced from the Brahman effulgence emanating from the transcendental body of Mahavishnu, an expansion of Lord Krishna. That one's really cool. And then here's another one. The Supreme Being, who is the Supreme Intelligence, is the ultimate creator, the all-attractive personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Playing the flute. Uh-oh, but who's he got there? He's got a, oh, why can't I think of the name of that dang bird right now? I got one of the feathers right here in front of me, too. It's not a pelican. What's the name? It's not an ostrich. Why can't I think of the name of that bird right now? I know somebody will let me know. Peacock. I let myself know. Good job, me. It's a peacock, but we see that often associated with, like, thank you, once your goddess. Hey, and thank you, Vaishant Kumar. Yep, peacock, right? Well, we see that connected in the Western world. We see that connected with some scary figures from time to time. The peacock angel, or even like that old boy Lucifer. Uh-oh, you gotta watch out for him. Okay, and then let's get through a couple more of these pictures. There we go. The ultimate goal of all living entities is to return home, back to Godhead, to enjoy an eternal life of bliss and knowledge by engaging in loving devotional service to Lord Krishna. See, right there is one of those ways that could be a little bit misinterpreted, because in kind of the more black school of thought, the idea that it's all suffering and it's all an illusion and you just need to transcend it. Well, I mean, if you're that good, then go ahead and transcend it. What's stopping you? What's stopping you? Come on, come on. What's stopping you if you're that good? But I think most everybody else is doing this exact thing. They are transcending it, but perhaps by a different means. And the part sheet says, is it Srimad Bhagavad Gita? No, but this was from the same author. Well, I honestly don't know if Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada wrote the Bhagavad Gita or if he just translated and gave us the modern version most of us read. And I probably should do a little more research into that myself. But I know I've got like 3 different copies sitting around here, and they all got his name on it. So, okay, and then this one here, the spiritual master is the external manifestation of God, who is situated in everyone's heart as the super soul. All right. I see that and I think, Om Mani Padme Hum. And then lastly, this one, he's clowning a little bit. He says, it is not advancement of knowledge to go to the moon after 10 years of effort and take a rock and come back. See, that's where maybe I'm just a little Western, but I would disagree with that. I would say that it's about both, and that's what Hermeticism teaches. Is it's about both. It's about that inner realm of the moon and accessing that through those inner explorations, but also, like, how is that not impressive? How is that not impressive that we, as a race of beings, the human race, because it takes a village, and for something like interplanetary travel, it's going to take the whole village of planet Earth to be able to come together and say, yo, what if we went to the moon? What if we went to Mars? What if we went to a whole other star system? But this is going to give us one of those methods, this book here, and that's why we're reading it, is this going to give us one of the methods for doing that. But who's to say that it's not meant to be both? I don't know. Probably somebody who's trying to sell you something, but what do I know? Okay, you guys, let's get to reading. Enough picture looking. Nah, I love looking at pictures, man. A picture's worth 1,000 words, as they say. All right, so there are instances in history of great personalities, including sages and kings, who attained perfection by this process. Some of them attained success even by adhering to one single item of devotional service with faith, and perseverance. Some of these personalities are listed below. All right, let's see what he's got to say. 1. Emperor Parikshit attained the spiritual platform simply by hearing from such an authority as Sri Sukadeva Goswami. 2. Sri Sukadeva Goswami attained the same simply by recitation verbatim of the transcendental message which he received from his great father, Sri Vyasadeva. 3. Emperor Prahlada attained spiritual success by remembering the Lord constantly in pursuance of instructions given by Sri Narada Muni, the great saint and devotee. 4. Lakshmiji, the goddess of fortune, attained success simply by sitting and serving the lotus feet of the Lord. 5. King Prithu attained success simply by worshiping the Lord. 6. Akrura, the charioteer, attained success simply by chanting prayers for the Lord. 7. Hanuman Mahavira, 0, this one might be for you, the famous non-human devotee of Lord Sri Ramachandra, attained success simply by carrying out the orders of the Lord. Oh, 0, I don't know. From our conversations, that one, Riley, might be for you right now. We'll reread it just for you because I love you so much. 7. Hanuman Mahavira, the famous non-human devotee of Lord Sri Ramachandra, attained success simply by carrying out the orders of the Lord. 8. Arjuna, the great warrior, attained the same perfection simply by making friends with the Lord, who delivered the message of the Bhagavad Gita to enlighten Arjuna and his followers. 9. Emperor Bali attained success by surrendering everything unto the Lord, including his personal body. These are 9 standard modes of devotional service to the Lord, and a candidate can choose to adopt any 1, 2, 3, 4, or all, however he likes. So, yep, like my friend says, there are many paths up the mountain, but there definitely are many paths that are going to lead you, astray. And you're welcome, 0, no problem at all. And the Aparachit, this one, my bad, I didn't see you asking the book name. This one is called Easy Journey to Other Planets. All the services rendered to the Absolute are in themselves absolute, with none of the quantitative or qualitative differences found on the material platform. On the spiritual platform, everything is identical with everything else, although there is transcendental variegatedness. Emperor Ambarisha adopted all of the above 9 items, and he attained perfect success. He engaged his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord, his voice in describing the spiritual world, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord, his ears in submissively hearing the words of Lord Sri Krishna, his eyes in viewing the deities of the Lord, his body in touching the bodies of the devotees, his nostrils in smelling the flowers offered to the Lord, his tongue in tasting the food offered to the Lord, his legs in visiting the temples of the Lord, and all the energy of his life in executing the services of the Lord without in the least desiring his own sense gratification. All these activities helped him attain the perfect stage of life, which defeats all dexterities of material science. Well, shoot, if that doesn't sound like a Thelemite, then I must not know Thelema very well. The Aparachit, the author, is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. It is therefore incumbent upon all human beings to adopt these principles of spiritual realization for the perfection of life. A human being's only obligation is spiritual realization. Unfortunately, in modern civilization, human society is too busy discharging national duties. Actually, national duties, social duties, and humanitarian duties are obligatory only for those who are bereft of spiritual duties. I don't know about that statement. I think, I don't know about that statement. As soon as a man takes his birth on this earth, not only does he have a national, social, and humanitarian obligations, but he also has obligations to the demigods who supply air, light, water, etc. All right, I'd say I agree with that statement a little more. He also has obligations to the great sages who have left behind them vast treasure houses of knowledge to guide him through life, and also to all kinds of living beings, to his forefathers, to his family members, and so on and so forth. But as soon as one engages himself in the one single obligatory duty, the duty of spiritual perfection, then he automatically liquidates all other obligations without having to make separate efforts. A devotee of the Lord is never a disturbing element in society. On the contrary, he is a great social asset. Since no sincere devotee is attracted to sinful actions, as soon as a man becomes a pure devotee, he can do inestimable selfless service to society for the peace and prosperity of all concerned, in this life and in the next. But even if such a devotee commits some offense, the Lord himself rectifies it in no time. Therefore, there is no need for a devotee to cultivate materialistic knowledge, nor does a devotee need to artificially renounce everything and live as a hermit. He can simply remain at home and execute devotional service smoothly in any order of life. And there are instances in history of extremely cruel men becoming kind hearted simply by the execution of devotional service. Knowledge and abnegation follow automatically in the life of a pure devotee without his having to make extraneous effort. This spiritual art and science of devotional service is the highest contribution of Indian sages to the rest of the world. Therefore, everyone who has taken his birth in India has an obligation to perfect his life by adopting the principles of this great art and science and distributing it to the rest of the world, which is still ignorant of the ultimate aim of life. Human society is destined to reach this stage of perfection by gradual development of knowledge. Indian sages, however, have already reached that position. Why do others have to wait for thousands and thousands of years to attain their heights? Why not give them the information immediately in a systematic way so that they may save time and energy? They should take advantage of human life, which they may have labored millions of years to attain. Oh, there we go. A Russian fiction writer is now contributing suggestions to the rest of the world that scientific progress can help man to live forever. And this was in like the 50s, right? We determined this was first written. Let's double check if it says in the front. I know he said something about a recent article and it was like 1956. Where are you at? Where are you hiding at? 72? 1970? That's not even that long, dude. That's like basically yesterday. Unless you're like talking about AI, then oh no. Yesterday was already 17 years ago in the world of AI or something like that. I don't know. Okay, and let's see, Zero says, I need to watch your lectures of this book to the beginning. This is really good. Yeah, Zero, it's a short one, and so last week I got started in it a bit. So you'll want to go check that out, and then we should finish it up this week because it is a pretty quick one. And the Aparcheat says it's about to go somewhere without going there. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Well, going there in maybe a different sense than like lifting up your body and walking there, or driving there, or getting in a spaceship to go there. A Russian fiction writer is now contributing suggestions to the rest of the world that scientific progress can help man to live forever. Of course, he does not believe in a supreme being who is the creator. How does he know that? How does he know? For all we know, this guy is like a Russian Orthodox type of person. Yet we welcome his suggestion because we know that actual progress in scientific knowledge will certainly take men to the spiritual sky and inform the scientists that there is a supreme creator who has full potencies beyond all materialistic scientific conceptions. That line right there sounds a lot like the image of the macroprosopis taking in his own reflection. As mentioned, every living being is eternal but has to change his outer coverings, gross and subtle, and this changing process is technically known as life and death. As long as a living being has to put on the shackles of material bondage, there is no relief from this changing process, which continues even in the highest stage of material life. The Russian fiction writer may speculate, as fiction writers are apt to do, but saner people with some knowledge of natural law will not agree that man can live forever within this material world. A naturalist can see the general course of material nature simply by studying a fruit in a tree. A small fruit develops from a flower, grows, stays for some time on a branch, becomes full grown, ripens, then begins to dwindle daily until it finally falls from the tree and commences to decompose into the earth, and at last mingles with the earth, leaving behind its seed, which in its turn grows to become a tree and produces many fruits in time, which will all meet the same fate, and so on and so on. That sounds like what One True Goddess was saying about the great work. Similarly, a living being, as a spiritual spark, a part of the supreme being, takes its organic form in the womb of a mother just after sexual intercourse. So that womb could easily be represented in that tarot card we pulled today. Water of water, the Binah of Bria. It grows little by little within the womb. Within the womb is born, then continues growing, becomes a child, a boy, a youth, an adult, and an old man, and then finally dwindles and meets death, despite all the good wishes and hopeful pipe dreams of fiction writers. By comparison, there is no difference between the man and the fruit. Like the fruit, the man may leave behind him his seeds of numerous children, but he cannot exist eternally within his material body due to the law of material nature. And the Aparcheat says it's similar to cognitive psychology. All right. How can anyone ignore the law of material nature? No material scientist can change the stringent laws of nature, however boastful he may be. No astronomer can change the course of the planets. He can only manufacture a paltry toy planet, which he calls a satellite. Foolish children may be impressed by this and may give a great deal of credit to the inventors of modern satellites, Sputniks, etc. But the saner section of humanity gives more credit to the creator of the gigantic satellites, namely the sun, stars, and planets, of which the material scientists can see no end. Man, this does sound a lot like Krishna Mormonism. That feeling when you're sitting in class, but your mind feels like it has teleported somewhere else, the Aparcheat says. Yeah, definitely. That is what he gets to talking about in here a bit. I mean, he kind of already has as well. Okay. If a small toy satellite has a creator in Russia or America, it is reasonable that the gigantic satellites have their creator in the spiritual sky. Now that's a decent. Yeah, I agree with that. If a toy satellite requires so many scientific brains for its manufacture and its orbiting, what kind of subtle and perfect brain created galaxies of stars and maintains them in their orbits? Thus far, the Atheistic class have not been able to answer this. Shots fired, atheists, shots fired. Non-believers put forward their own theories of the creation, which usually result in statements such as, "It's hard to understand. Our imagination cannot conceive it, but it's quite possible. It's incomprehensible," and so forth. This only means that their information has no... Oh, this book's really trying to get away from the holder. This book holder's stupid. This book holder's an illusion. No, I just can't work the book holder very well right now with this particular book. Okay. And so forth. This only means that their information has no authoritative basis and is not backed by scientific data. They simply speculate. However, authorized information is available in the Bhagavad Gita. For instance, the Bhagavad Gita informs us that within the material world, there are living beings whose duration of life covers 4.3 million times 1,000 times 2 times 30 times 12 times 100 solar years. We accept the Bhagavad Gita as authority because this book of knowledge was so accepted by India's great sages like Sankaracharya, Sri Ramanujacharya, Sri Madhavacharya, and maybe it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It probably is because a C usually makes the ch sound, to my understanding. The Bhagavad Gita indicates that in the material world, all living forms are subject to decay and death, regardless of their duration of life. Therefore, all material shapes are subject to the law of change, although the material energy itself is conserved. As energy, everything is eternal, but in the material world, matter takes shape, remains for some time, develops into maturity, grows old, begins to dwindle, and at last disappears again. This is the case with all material objects. The materialist's suggestion that beyond the material sky there is some other form that is outside the boundary of visibility and that is strange and inconceivable is but a faint indication of the spiritual sky. However, the basic principle of spirit is much closer, for it functions within all living beings. When that spiritual principle is out of the material body has no life. Within the body of a child, for instance, the spiritual principle is present, and therefore changes take place in the body and it develops. But if the spirit leaves the body, the development stops. This law is applicable to every material object. Matter transforms from one shape to another when it is in contact with spirit. Without spirit, there is no transformation. That sounds a lot like what he was saying about the Hermetic, and that they are mutually dependent, right? Matter and spirit. And the Aparcheet says the universe has many levels of planets called Lok. Yeah, he's talked about that a little bit in this book, the different lokas or shlokas. Brahma, oh no, it is Lok, not Shlok, my bad, just Lok, right? Brahma Loka, Vishnu Loka, Krishna Loka. Whatever one remembers at the time of death, that state one attains. That's what this has been saying a bit too. Okay. Without spirit, there is no transformation. The entire universe develops in that way. It emanates from the energy of the transcendence because of the spiritual force which is his, and it develops into gigantic forms like the sun, moon, and earth. There are 14 divisions of planetary systems, and although they are all different in dimension and quality, the same principle of development holds true for all. The spiritual force is the creator, and only by this spiritual principle do transformation, transition, and development take place. Life is definitely not generated simply by a chemical combination or any other material reaction, as many foolish men claim. Material interaction is set in motion by the supreme spiritual being who creates a favorable circumstance to accommodate the spiritual living force. The supreme spiritual being handles matter in an appropriate way, as determined by his free will. For example, building materials do not automatically react and suddenly assume the shape of a residential house. Thank you, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Thank you. And 6 days in, what up, bro? Great to see you. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Yup. It's all in the mind, bro. Yeah, well, right now my mind shows me a lot of materials that unless I nail them together and I know how to use a tape measure and a hammer and use these tools the way they're designed, nothing's going to happen. They're just going to sit there and it's just going to be in a state of potential. And eventually it's going to go to waste. You just wasted all those good building materials, dude. Those were good 2x6s and you wasted them, dude. Get out of here. Good nails and you let them rust out in the weather. Dude, why didn't you just build the house, dude? That's what we were getting paid to do. And the apart sheet says, okay, to spiritual energy collected, I'm going to sleep. Just kidding. Good night. Good night, the apart sheet. Good to see you again. And sweet dreams. Appreciate you. Okay, a living spiritual being handles matter appropriately by his free will and thus constructs the house. Similarly, matter is the ingredient only, but the supreme spirit is the creator. Only a man with a poor fund of knowledge avoids this conclusion. The creator may remain unseen in the background, but that does not mean there is no creator. One should not be illusioned simply by the gigantic form of the material universe. Rather, one should learn to discern the existence of a supreme intelligence behind all these material manifestations. The Supreme Being, who is the Supreme Intelligence, is the ultimate creator, the all attractive personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Although one may not be aware of this, there is definite information of the creator given in Vedic literatures, such as in the Bhagavad Gita and especially the Srimad Bhagavatam. And if I remember right, he said that the Bhagavad Gita was actually a preliminary text to study and read before you get into the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is probably a bit more dense in comparison. And thank you, 6 days in. I appreciate you. And Narasima, all right, Narasima's here. Cool. Says magical inspiration, quite crazy. Thanks, man. This Vishnu energy is popping today in this stream. I love it. When a satellite is thrown into outer space, a child may not understand that there are scientific brains behind it, but an intelligent adult realizes that scientific brains on Earth are controlling the satellite. Similarly, less intelligent persons do not have information of the Creator and his eternal abode in the spiritual world, which is far beyond our range of visibility. But in actuality, there is a spiritual sky with spiritual planets that are more spacious and greater in number than the planets in the material sky. From the Bhagavad Gita, we receive information that the material universe constitutes only a fraction, 1/4 of the creation. Such information is extensively available in the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures. If living energy could be generated in the scientist's laboratory by the interaction of certain physical and chemical combinations, then why haven't the boastful material scientists been able to manufacture life? Oh, material scientists, checkmate on that one, huh? Dude, I don't know. We're probably not too far away from like 3D printing like an AI human that none of us would have any clue is 3D printed AI. It's like going to be even more convincing than a robot with like fake skin on. But this was written in the 70s. And Zero says Hanuman and Narasimha was the two main energies that pop up this year for me, and I try to look and search for about it. Yeah, I know from some of what we talked about for sure. That's why I think it's really cool that they would be here. And with some of what I know you've got going on right now in life, that's probably a real good sign for you. I know it is for me too. So that's wonderful. They should know definitely that the spiritual force is distinct from matter and that such energy is not possible to produce any amount of material adjustment. At present, Russians and Americans are undoubtedly very much advanced in many departments of technological science, but they are still ignorant of the spiritual science. They will have to learn from superior intelligence in order to make a perfect and progressive human society. The Russians are unaware that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the socialist philosophy is most perfectly described. The Bhagavatam instructs that whatever varieties of wealth exist, such as natural resources, agricultural, mining, etc., all are created by the ultimate creator, and therefore every living being has a right to take his share of them. That sounds like hippie communism to me. It is further said that why would we want to share things when we could hoard it all up for ourselves and make a bunch of money off the suckers, spiritual knowledge included, huh? It is further said that a man should possess only as much wealth as is sufficient to maintain his body, and that if he desires more than that, or if he takes more than his share, he is subject to punishment. It is also stated that animals should be treated as one's own children. We believe that no nation on earth can describe socialism as well as the Srimad Bhagavatam. Living beings other than humans can be treated as brothers and children only when one has a full conception of the Creator and the actual constitution of the living being. Man's desire to be deathless is realized only in the spiritual world. As stated at the beginning of this essay, a desire for eternal life is a sign of dormant spiritual life. The aim of human civilization should be targeted to that end. It is possible for every human being to transfer himself to that spiritual realm by the process of bhakti yoga as described herein. So, yep, this book's definitely going to probably be encouraging some of us to go revisit the Bhakti Yoga study we already did. That's that Swami Vivekananda Bhakti Yoga. That's one you want on yourself for sure. It is a great science, and India has produced many scientific literatures by which the perfection of life may be realized. Bhakti Yoga is the eternal religion of man, at a time when material science predominates all subjects, including the tenets of religion. It would be enlivening to see the principles of the eternal religion of man from the viewpoint of the modern scientist. Even Dr. S. Radhakrishnan admitted at a World Religion Conference that religion will not be accepted in modern civilization if it is not accepted from a scientific point of view. Well, maybe that's just what time we're on. In reply, we are glad. Come on, you guys. You know the way the pendulum swings. In reply, we are glad to announce to the lovers of the truth that Bhakti Yoga is the eternal religion of the world and is intended for all living beings who are all eternally related with the Supreme Lord. Sripada Ramanujacharya defines the word Sanatana or Sanatan or eternal as that which has neither beginning nor end. See, that's where I get a little. I mean, the Sanskrit pronunciation is already hard enough, but then I know like half the time they don't even say that A at the end there, so they just say Sanatan instead of Sanatana. But I'm no expert on why that is. When we speak of Sanatana Dharma, eternal religion, we take this definition for granted. That which has neither beginning nor end is unlike anything sectarian, which has limits and boundaries. In the light of modern science, it will be possible for us to see Sanatana Dharma as the main occupation of all the people of the world, nay, of all living entities of the universe. Non-Sanatan religious faith has some beginning in the annals of man, but there is no historic origin of Sanatan Dharma because it eternally remains with the living entities. Dang. And let's see. 6 days in, it says, before I get into Bhakti Yoga, I got to be able to focus on my energy body through meditation. Sometimes I go so deep into trance, images keep popping up. Well, maybe see how I don't know. Maybe you might find that Bhakti Yoga might be the key to helping you with some of that. When a man professes to belong to a particular faith, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, or any other sect, because of the particular time and circumstances of his birth, such designations are called non-Sanatan Dharma. A Hindu may become a Muslim, or a Muslim may become a Hindu or Christian, etc. But in all circumstances, there is one constant. In all circumstances, he is rendering service to others. A Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, or Christian is in all circumstances a servant of someone. The particular type of faith professed is not Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma is the constant companion of the living being, the unifier of all religions. Sanatana Dharma is the rendering of service. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are several references to that which is Sanatan. Let us learn the import of Sanatana Dharma from this authority. There is reference to the word Sanatanam in the 10th verse of the 7th chapter, in which the Lord says that he is the eternal fountainhead of everything and is therefore Sanatanam. The fountainhead of everything is described in the Upanishads as the complete whole. All emanations of the fountainhead are also complete in themselves, but although many complete units emanate from the complete Sanatan fountainhead, the Sanatana head does not diminish in quality or quantity. That is because the nature of Sanatan is unchangeable. Right, so see, that's what I'm talking about. This idea that most people have around Kabbalah is I mean, it's one way to try to help you kind of understand the way creation unfolds. But like, I heard a popular magus once say that Hakma will tire out before Bina, but that just kind of shows a lack of an understanding of Kabbalah to me and God to me. But hey, maybe they know something I don't. Okay, anything that changes under the influence of time and circumstances is not Sanatan. Therefore, anything that changes whatsoever in form or quality cannot be accepted as Sanatan. To give a material example, the sun has been disseminating its rays for hundreds of millions of years, and yet, although it is a materially created object, its form and rays are still unchanged. Therefore, that which is never created cannot change in form or quality, even though he is the seedling source of everything. Is the Lord found in the Logos 6 days in? Well, how do you define those things first and foremost? I mean, I would say, personally, the way I define them, I would say that that's the same thing. Same thing, different name. The Lord claims to be the Father, and Tenzing K asks, what is Sanatan? This book is describing it as that which is eternal or unchangeable. Okay, the Lord claims to be the father of all species of life. He claims that all living beings, regardless of what they are part and parcel of him. Consequently, the Bhagavad Gita is meant for all of them. In the Gita, there is information of this Sanatan nature of the Supreme Lord. There is also information of his abode, which is far beyond the material sky, and of the Sanatan nature of the living beings. Lord Krishna. Oh wait, did we miss a? Oh yeah, there was a little note there about the Sri Ishopanishad invocation. And Tenzin, you are right. Sanatan is Sanskrit. Okay, Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita also informs us that this material world is full of miseries in the shape of birth, old age, disease, and death. Even in the topmost planet of the material universe, Brahmaloka, these miseries are present. Only in his own abode, there is a total absence of misery. In that abode, there is no need of light from sun, moon, or fire because the planets there are self luminous. That sounds pretty cool. There is life there is perpetual and full of knowledge and bliss. That is what is known as the Sanatan Dharma. It is therefore natural to conclude that the living entities must return home back to Godhead to enjoy life in the Sanatan Dharma with the Sanatan Purusha or the Purushottama Lord Krishna. They must not remain to rot in this miserable land of material existence. There is no happiness in the material sphere, even in Brahmaloka. So plans and activities for elevation to higher planets within the material universe are carried out by those who are less intelligent. And see, so comments like that, there is no happiness in the material sphere. So that's like one, right? There's the one outlook that it's all suffering, suffering all the way up, suffering all the way down. But there's also, you can have the other outlook that it's all joy, it's all love, it's all happiness, all up and so, especially yogas like Bhakti yoga, at least the way Vivekananda puts it, break that down pretty well. That even if some things look evil, that somewhere in there is some kind of love, even if it's like a really distorted, if it's a distorted or corrupted type of love, you know what I mean? And 6 days in, well, right, it's like you said, content, context. So it's kind of like if we're trying to control those things to our best ability, I mean, it is both. Um, it definitely is both. Yeah, it is. But you can still choose to try to find the good and the bad, just the same as you can always be looking for the bad even in things that are good, you know. It's a lot about your own personal perspective in those type of ways. And so in the same way that you can be sitting on a bus with somebody who's going through a personal hell, but you're going through like a more heavenly type of consciousness, for lack of a better way to put it, more heavenly type of frame of mind. But yeah, I mean, they both exist side by side. So that's where I think that that's one of the more real looks at it, is that it's both. But if ultimately we want to relieve the suffering, then how does that look in your life? How in your life would you be potentially contributing to the suffering of yourself and therefore the world around you? Or how would you be relieving that suffering? All right, now where the heck was I? I read that part. I read that part. Read that part. There we were. Thus, their religious principles, and the benefits derived therefrom are only temporary. The intelligent man, however, abandons all such so called religious engagements and takes shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus receives the absolute protection from the Almighty Father. Sanatana Dharma is therefore the process of Bhakti Yoga by which one can come to know the Sanatana Lord and his Sanatana abode. Yeah, okay. So see stuff like that, you got to really kind of understand what he's trying to say there. And it's like, right, if even all the suffering, so even if the suffering is there, the joy is there, but either way, if it's all God, and if at a certain point you fully surrender to that type of thing, well, you might just find that beneficial, and you might find Bhakti Yoga to be a very good practice or catalyst to achieving that. And then let's see. Zero says, like the original Buddhism said, everything is suffering and we have no soul. Right. That is exactly. That's one extreme of the coin. And then 6 Days In says, if it wasn't, the ring pass not wouldn't exist. Reality would collapse. Also, yes, sometimes we suffer, sometimes we don't. I relieve it through many methods. Yeah, definitely. See, that's where a book like Cosmic Doctrine can certainly give a really good way of viewing this stuff. So that's why I do enjoy studying some of these things all side by side. And the different people who hang around here and offer up their different insights as well are very valuable. So thank you guys. Okay, we're almost done. By this process only can one return to the spiritual universe, the Sanatana Dharma, to take part in the Sanatana enjoyment prevailing there. Those who are followers of Sanatana Dharma may henceforward take up those principles in the spirit of the Bhagavad Gita. There is nothing barring anyone from adopting the eternal principles. Even persons who are less enlightened can return to Godhead. This is the version taught by Srimad Bhagavatam and by the Supreme Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita. Mankind should be given a chance to take advantage of this opportunity. Because the Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the land of Bharatavarsha, every Indian has the responsibility to broadcast the message of real Sanatana Dharma in the other parts of the world. Especially at that present moment, misguided men are suffering in the darkness of materialism, and their so-called learning has enabled them to discover the atomic bomb. Oh no, I swear I heard somebody say that the atomic bomb isn't real. They are consequently on the verge of annihilation. Sanatana Dharma, however, will teach them about the real purpose of life, and they will benefit by its propagation. All right, well, that does it for section 1, and that was about perfect. We're almost at that hour mark, so very swell. And 6 days in, yeah, definitely the extremes can give us a bigger perspective. Cool. Well, I'm glad you guys showed up today. You guys livened up the chat, and I'm also grateful for some of the other newcomers. Of course, the Lord Narasima, Tenzin K, welcome. Let's see, the Aparachit, can't forget you. Welcome back. I appreciate your contributions. And let's see, Vishant Kumar. Oh yeah, thank you. The Korean Chinese, I'm not sure name. Good to see you. Hopefully you stick around. Find this to be useful. Zarnath. All right, I think I hit them all. Oh, and oh dear, like John Deere. Ain't nothing tougher than a deer, baby. All right, no problem at all. I really love you, Zero. I love you all, and I appreciate you all very much. So that's gonna do it for today. Tomorrow and Saturday we will get into and most likely finish up with this chapter 2, varieties of planetary systems, because that's only like 20 pages. So if we do like a little over 20, so if we do a little over 10 a day, yeah, we can easily do that in our usual little time slot. So much appreciated. Love you. 6 days in. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. And I'll see you guys tomorrow to learn more about Journey into Other Planets and the varieties of planetary systems. In the meantime, hit our death bookmark and shut her down. Right there, the 7 Archons, dude. They're the 7 Archons and the Demiurge right there. Take a look. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you again. I appreciate you all. I love you all, and I will see you all